Okay.
Are we in?
Think so.
We got people?
Just you.
Just me.
That's you.
Sure. Swear it's not your name.
Okay.
Okay, folks, we are missing Mark Rosenthal and Matt. They had both spoken to me, said they were not going to be able to make it this evening. Johanna, I did see join Zoom. Maybe she's popping back in at 6:30. We can get started without her, as we do have a quorum. We have myself, Kathy, John, and Will here.
6:23.
Now let's get this started. Okay, we have approval of prior minutes. We are missing the prior minutes. Still, Johanna's working on it from October 6th. As we see, she did email a revised copy showing what was here for August 28th. I'll make a motion to approve the change on that. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? That passes. Officer reports. Anyone have anything? I do not. Okay, we'll move forward from that. Community management report.
Everybody received it this month, right?
Yes, we do.
Yes. It's fine, I got it 3 months ago. Do you want me to read it, or, I mean, there's no real highlights?
I would recommend read it, yes, because this is recorded and this for.
For everybody. Okay.
So
I'm speaking up, is that better?
That is better.
yeah, that's like 400% better.
The longer we go, I'll be better, I promise. Sorry, the hurricane cleanup has been completed, thanks to Sean for helping with the contractors, but we did stay under with the tree removals and most of the stump removals and grinding under the $13,000 that the board approved last month. The fence over at Sagewood still is still standing up in the air a little bit. The family fence will be there on the 31st to give us a proposal and to repair it. And Sagewood and the paired villas, the side has been installed in Sagewood. The irrigation has been readjusted to water properly, mainly just once a week at this point. We still have some homeowners that are consistently changing the times they're turning it off and doing the thing. The inspection for chinch bugs in the community, there were none found throughout the community at all. So we have other issues that are going on, and we're having fertilization and other chemicals put down over the next few weeks. The paired villa still hasn't had the new sod installation. That's going to be hopefully within the next few weeks. We're having a little bit of pushback from the contractor to put it in because it's such a large amount, and we're not sure if it's going to be warranted or not. So as that comes up, I'll let everybody know. And 3 repairs over at the paired villas, because we pay for the roofs. We had 3 repairs from the hurricane, and all 3 of them have been repaired and paid. So that's all 100% moving forward. I put a proposal in for 5828 Circuit Fishhawk PV replacement is available for the board review. 13508 Circuit Crossing Drive Sagewood, there's a bush replacement that they want a proposal to replace some of their bushes that died off. Next. Never mind. I don't have any updates on the pool, no updates on the lake house. At Folio, we're getting more and more people that are understanding that that's the only way that we're communicating. We're keeping updates. Jennifer and I spend probably 4 hours every day on Folio, updating people and keeping them where they need to, educating people on what they need. And the estoppels have gone crazy. I did 16 in the last 3 weeks.
Good.
So we're gonna have somebody come in. Now I'm teaching the settlement companies how to disperse the checks correctly. We've had send some back, but they're coming up.
And we got a handful of them that actually came back with associate's name and so had to send them back and have them tell.
Right. Violation letters are now approved and ready to start the process. I have a few questions I'm gonna need to go over because I'm having trouble with it. So the inspections are, they're going out just not as quickly as I would like. The bonding committee, we did meet with the group. And that went well, and the first meeting should be the first Monday in December. The collection status report will be provided to the board on a monthly basis before meetings. So this way it will be on the same page and everybody will know what's going on. The cleaning companies, we actually have three. Jen did get one from the current company that I didn't get to send out yet, but the two companies that we have, the prices are not significantly more, but they are definitely professional companies where we would definitely see a difference in cleaning. So I'm excited about that. And that's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you.
And everybody heard me.
Pretty well. I have a question for you. I was sure one day the HVAC, last. Meeting was coming in and found some leaks. Did you get back to us about the hospital leak was there for good?
I asked the gentleman that was here, he is going to have the proposal sent over for 2 times a year for them to come and maintain it, so we still have the maintenance contract on. Which is,
What about the leaks that show up there? He showed me a coil leak on both units at this point. And compressor that's actually sounding like it's gonna crash.
that is correct.
So, I just I built into the budget that we're gonna talk about that number, but would like to know what the number's gonna be real.
Mhm.
Okay.
So sorry about that.
Go ahead, if you can sign that last page.
Oh, yeah.
That's the August 28th, the revival. Yep. So next month on November, we'll need minutes for today and for October.
I'll take care of that.
I have a question about procedures. It involves Patty, I think,
Okay.
with her advice. Right over here, there's a tree that was on CDD property,
Mhm.
but it is now fallen over into the Encore property. We have contacted the CDD
Mhm.
because we view it as their problem.
The one that's uprooted on watercolor?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And so Jim, Dabney, who was in charge of our landscape report, contacted the CDD. Actually, the person at Rosetta who handles the CDD stuff. And she was horrified because she didn't know that this tree had fallen over. They'll get on it right away. A couple of weeks went by. Jim called her back and she deflected it to talk about another issue has to do with the wells. It's carried over from last year. We didn't get an answer for that. So to the extent that it's a CDD tree, I understand that. But it's impacting on Encore, which is our collective problem.
Exactly.
And the longer it sits there, because it's leaning against another tree,
Mhm.
it's gonna fall over and break the fence and probably some other stuff.
Right.
Is there any way that the master HOA can exert some influence over CDD to get them to fix this tree?
Yeah, sure, and if we can get in touch with Debbie Wallace and
And Debbie's been responsive. She is aware of that tree, because at the last meeting last month, that's when they taped it off. So, but it should have been done. So, I mean, I've been in contact with her 3 or 4 times this week.
My understanding, you got good response and good rapport with her this way, which we haven't had up to this point.
Right.
Great, it's good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
She seemed to be pretty receptive to Jim from the
Yeah.
comments he said and made, but there's one thing to be receptive, and there's another thing to not
Be
do anything.
responsive, right, absolutely. But she's been good because I've been, and she may not know that tree's not done yet. But I did bring it up to her and I brought probably 7 or 8 trees through the community that were leaning. I took pictures, I went out, took pictures and sent them to her. So Brightby was supposed to take care of that. So I'll talk to her tomorrow about that tree. Because I didn't want to be pushy, because I knew I brought it up to her last time and she took care of sagewood, cutting the grass like I asked her to within 24 hours.
Mhm.
So I'll bring it up to her. She's not on site enough to not know it's not done. That's probably what it is. So I'll reach out to her tomorrow and I'll get an answer for you.
I
And then I'll
appreciate
let you know.
that.
perfect. Committee reports.
Well, wait, before we go, are we going to discuss these 2 proposals from Sunrise that you brought up
I think
here?
General business, most likely.
No, I don't have monthly with me, perhaps in November.
That she These two,
I don't have any mention.
okay, so we're going to just let it,
Table next.
table it,
Just hold it.
I'm good. I like tabling it.
I put the important one on here, the other two. we can wait for them.
Cool.
Committee manager, I'm sorry, committee reports. I had missed this last month when you weren't here, October 6th. As you noticed, we're doing a food drive in the area. It's with 3B's Ministry. I meant to say this on the 6th, I totally forgot. As you see, it's the food drive, it's posted on Facebook. We did meet last night. Seems like a great thing. They're actually local. They live here in the Oaks. They approached Johanna and I at the last social event meeting and they set it all up. They purchased a sign and we're just helping them promote.
Awesome.
That's
So
right.
when you say they purchased the sign, there was no cost to us.
JR was kind enough to put them out. That was their contribution. And it's great. I did the job form, so everyone who wants to participate just puts their address in and they're gonna drop off the box and get it picked up and get volunteers.
It's awesome.
Okay.
I'm sure we got some.
Yeah, we're working on, I've been sick, because my cat's got sick and he got me cold, so, but I'm still working on getting the Santa and the casino event. The plan is, of course, to be ticketed and for that mostly be covered by, members paying, so still working on that. I still would like it to go through our accounts and, because rather than my own.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, there should be a debit card coming for you to use for future pursuits.
Oh,
Yes, I have one in the box.
so if we need any authorization for that,
Dates for Mr. and possible Mrs. Claus. What were the dates? you said?
17th and 18th.
17th and 18th.
I think that's a good weekend.
17th. Okay.
Yes.
We just need to find a Santa and a Mrs. Santa.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Just a couple days.
well, that's great. I will be sending the information
Okay.
for them to kind of get
Okay.
contact, confirm everything.
Okay. Cause I didn't have anything from last year at all from that.
I think I sent it all to Heather, come to think of
Okay.
it. I was like, I know you said something about that. I'm like, I guess,
If you can't get her, whatever you got, as soon
Yeah.
as possible, and then you could add to it if we
Okay.
find anyone different.
Okay.
We just don't want to lose the dates, that's. all.
Okay.
Perfect. Anything else, Joanna?
no, that's all. I think those are gonna be, the Santa's the one I'm mostly focused on, but if we can get the casino, I think I have a meeting coming up. We'll talk about it.
Do you have a date for that yet?
It was supposed to be in November, we'll see. It might get pushed to next year, stuff. Cause I've been in Canada for a while, so I just haven't had much time to start planning, so. We'll see where we're at. I'll do for the next meeting. I think it's November 1st on a Tuesday or something. And I'll kind of follow up from there, what we want to do. As I said, I think I'm gonna mostly focus on the Santa. And then we'll see what happens with the casino, whether it gets going or not.
Perfect.
And the Santa's a big event, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty big event. Yeah, we get, we usually do 2 days and we get quite a,
Quite a few people. It's
Quite a
been
few
very
people.
successful in last couple of years for sure. So
yeah, last year, I was just Santa's little helper and we did pictures and it's a whole event. It's a big deal over here. Story time with Santa.
Okay.
Westlake update for the fence project. Sunrise finished the clearing properly at this point, and it's nicely done. With the exception is they stopped at the gaps on houses. I was expecting to do all the way up, but they didn't do that part. We are waiting for the revised quote for the irrigation before we start doing planting, but I'll keep you guys updated.
Awesome. Okay, we'll move on to old business. We have 14006 Quarry Lake Road, fence installed without approval appeal, and I believe we have the residents here.
Yes, you do. Mr.
Resident.
Scott.
Mr. Scott. I know you wanted to speak to us. We've been talking about this issue for probably 3 hours, if not more, in collective meetings, but I know you wanted to speak, so I'll hand the floor over to you. If you can't get up, stand up front. This way we grab you on the mic, that's great.
Basically what I'm saying,
Is that the email you sent?
no,
There's another one.
You and I will share. Here.
Yeah.
So, just a little bit later, you know, my wife and I moved in October of, last year. We moved from, Estero up here. I have two kids, 13 and, 11 years old. They both go to Barrington. And these are our neighbors. Let's go on that side. We live here. So, the beginning here, I'm usually put the end before the beginning here. You just cut to the chase here, that you'd like to see happen first and discuss some history and some background. My neighbors here, there's a fence that's been there the entire time, you know, for the last 6 years or so, but the Capazola, okay, fence was grandfathered, in other words, an exception was made for it to remain up. The proposal I have is, you know, for the Scots to allow them to have their fence remain up also. The Zayfords had a fence, and this fence would be grandfathered as well. And however, you know, and their opinion, you know, they were misled by the treasurer in tearing down the fence. And without privacy, security, or fencing. This is not acceptable to them. Allow them to reconstruct the fence, as they've agreed to have the fence torn down under duress, misinformation, and deception. Point 3, paint all of the 3-house fencing either gray or black to match the community thing. This includes the fencing in and around the utilities on Waterfall, also in the clubhouse. The rationale for this is following. There's been a fence there for, you know, for 6 years, existing in front of both of their homes there. 2 or 3 of the homes already had fences that existed. Allowing a third fence, which should have been built from the beginning, brings continuity to the fencing. The fences only face the contiguous school property and not the development. Along with that, on the same side of it, we have cows, pigs, and manure on the other side of it. The fence also. We've spoken to the schools and they're sympathetic to our challenges. They are aware that hundreds of cars, shining lights, make noises, disturb our quiet enjoyment daily. They're also aware of the fact that some of the students hop over the fence, below another fence I had, and still have there in front of the one I have in the Scott's house on a regular basis to take a shortcut in front of my house, through my yard. Given the high volume of traffic from the schools, these 3 homes face daily. Shrubbery is woefully inadequate in providing any type of quiet enjoyment and 100% incapable of providing any privacy or security. It would be ridiculous and horrible to have 3 different types of fences, one in each and behind each one of the houses. You know, that really questions the integrity of what the community is supposed to look like. As far as I know, all 3 fences have black fences behind them. They all have shrubs, and up until a few months ago, 2 of them had a wooden fence behind those also. The privacy and security of our families comes first. With individuals hopping across the fence to and from the schools and individuals peering in over the shrubs, a privacy fence is necessary. It is also quite disturbing to have hundreds of kids and parents peering over the bushes while we're trying to swim or sit on our patio. The next picture here is just a rendering, and it's better if you look at it here just for a second. If you could just look here. I had our people just do a rendering of what it will look like if this was painted black. And holding it up here. Sure. And there's another rendering of it here that shows if it was gray. And then here, this is what it looks like currently, and the fact is, you see the gray fence, that's his fence. Our fence will look the same way in 8 months as it oxidizes from the sun. It'll look the same way in 8 months period of time. Some history behind this. As far as we know, there's some history behind, you know, why the Scott home did not have the same fencing as the other 2 homes from the start. After doing some research, we discovered that Scott's property was originally not going to be sold. It was to be held aside to become the gate and the entry area for the community. The fence was constructed without the property being included. Later, the property was placed on the market for sale. The builder recognized the challenges that these 3 homes will face because of the proximity to the schools. These homes will have no privacy and very little security, and therefore the fence was constructed in a record. There were already two styles of fences that could be viewed from the schoolyard, the metal fence, like the Scots have. And, by the way, the other two homes have metal fences also behind the wooden fence and also shrubs. And the wooden fence on the two other homes. Allowing a single fence presence will bring continuity to the area facing the school, and like I said before, the only area that's contiguous to it is the school. The fence facing the schools is not the only example of this style of wooden fence in the community. There's an identical fence around the electrical junction box near the trail and water tower. After contacting the property office and the utility company, they did not list the fence around the utility as their property. They suggested that the property was built by the builder in the community. Outside the clubhouse is also two large wooden dumpsters with wooden fences around those also. The Scott family contacted the community manager in October of 2021 and never received a response over a 10-month period of time to the questions about the fence. We were told repeatedly by the community manager that these questions were for the board and not the architectural committee. These questions were, first of all, will the community extend the fence, which was behind their home at the time, for the Scott house? This question was never answered. We wrote numerous times. I visited the office no less than 8 to 10 times, and no one responded. There's no architectural committee needed to answer this question. The second question is, if they didn't want to pay for it, then I paid for it, basically. The Scotts were never asked to fill out any forms at any period of time. After speaking to the company that tore down the fence, they told me there was nothing wrong with the fencing that was there. Nothing wrong with it except for the way it was previously anchored into the ground. They said all the fences needed to be anchored with concrete that would cost $17.50 per post along the fence line. And this fence of this type will last 20 years plus. I told the families next door and my neighbor, while we were tearing down the fence, the neighbor immediately put the crew to work to put concrete anchors in the posts. And for $17.50 per post, reinforce the concrete on his post. It took less than an hour. When they were tearing down the fence, I asked them to keep all the wood for me because it was in excellent condition. I didn't want to have to buy new wood to put it up. They told me they were instructed to tear down the fence as soon as possible and as quickly as possible and take it to a scrapyard. They were instructed not to allow anyone to have any part of the fencing. These instructions were given by the treasurer of our association according to that. The treasurer was also supervising the project according to that. So they suggested that I build a new fence with the concrete anchors placed correctly, and so that's what I did. A week later, during the construction of my fence, the treasurer with the new community manager, Patty in tow, came storming to my house, insisting on coming in and begin the process of berating me and my wife for our decision to build our fence. I launched an aggressive dialogue in both of us. As I understand it, the treasurer is not a voting member of the board. I don't know why he's there. I will not get into the comparisons between maintaining a shrubbery versus fencing, however. It's a known fact that maintaining a fencing at this time is significantly cheaper than the maintenance of fertilizer, water, and hedging, and the replacement of dead shrubs. The total cost to construct the Scott fence, including the concrete anchors, was $1,600, and the fence line of the Scott is approximately 50% wider than one of the neighbors. As you can see, the cost of constructing the fence is minimal. What, the gentleman may have something to add on top of that. Scott?
Yeah, I think it was said in the last meeting, and we weren't able to attend that. You know, it was brought up that our 3 areas are unique, and then someone made the comment of it's not unique. You know, the conservation has a public area. And just today, you can kind of see what the conservation area looks like. And then you can see today what it looks like when everyone's getting picked up at their schools.
Yeah.
Right? So imagine that also at night when there's a volleyball game. Or a basketball game, or some other thing going on. So it is unique. There's no comparison in the neighborhood to it. Just so the board knows, my fence will never come down. When it falls, I will repair it. It's concreted in. So to have us have some continuity, as it looks the same as much as it did for those 5 or 6 years I was there, It only makes sense for security and privacy for the fence to stay up. And as he had mentioned, the kind of misled the community on the cost of everything. Correct? So there was no ever option to keep the existing fence and to install it properly. That would have been the minimal cost by far.
We don't have a ton of time to discuss this. I don't want to dissect everything for you. There was an option for repair on there, and it was voted down.
You're right, and not, it was, but the information put out was misinformation, which led to.
I saw the option was there, it's clear as day, read it with my own eyes.
Hey, can we pull up the slide?
The only thing that might be a discrepancy.
But hold on, honestly, folks, we're getting so far ahead of us. We really are, because we are very past this already, as far as the board is concerned. We have already voted.
So you guys have already decided, because I saw you two joking and smiling at each other, so while Will was talking, so.
No, we're joking and smiling because he's being belittled here in a meeting, and I don't appreciate it, and I think it's a horrible approach coming from the belts. But we'll move on.
saying the facts as they are.
No, you're not. You are not, no, but I was at the meeting where the facts were.
I'm sorry, but you were not in the home.
Excuse me, you interrupted me. And you were not at the meeting where the facts were presented to the entire Westlake community to be voted on. And you chose not to do that, and the vote was taken to, and as members of the Westlake community, we as a whole voted to take the fence down.
Is this fence down?
Is
this fence down?
I don't know, he chose to leave his fence up.
I'm sorry, and then this fence?
He asked to have it taken down. His wife asked to have it taken down.
It's not. To your point, I don't want to get into the semantics of it. She asked when the fence was coming down, it was offered that we could take yours down for you. Because we were going to replace our fence. So it wasn't like she saw it and said, hey, can you please take my fence? It was, but again, to Tom's point, I don't want to debate the language, it's not.
Sure, so, I mean, where we are is this, folks, where we are is this. Both the board and the ARC does not approve of residents having wooden privacy fences, period. We've talked about it, like I said, not 15 minutes, this is now 3 hours and 15 minutes. I thank you for your time to talk. I know you have to understand you're currently in a violation for putting a fence up without any approval. Hence why this is here. This is here as an appeal.
Great, so, but at the same time here, like I said, I did everything by the book for 10 months.
You didn't, you didn't.
No, don't tell me, please, let me finish what I'm saying, please. Please.
Sure.
I walked up to the community office, I sent an email, followed up with emails with the only representative that I have, which is the person that was sitting in her job for that. So I did what I was supposed to do. And the guidance and follow the guidance of the manager at that time. I did everything I was supposed to do to get an answer. I never get an answer in a period of time. At this time right now, at that time, it was a fence going across the entire area, which if his fence was still standing, she wants now, wanted then, it would still be grandfathered in. Why not extend it?
For starters, there's this term grandfather. There's no grandfather in here. Whether it was pre-existing or not, if you're re-shingling your house, there were shingles there. If you were re-shingling your house, there were shingles there. You're not grandfathered in, you still need to apply for an ARC to get it done. Because things may change. The HOA may no longer want a fence there anymore, which we will not be approving ARCs for fence replacement or repair because we want them down. At the end of the day, we're here where you have a fence up with no ARC. No.
I don't know what ARC is.
Architectural review committee. Whenever you want something done, if you log in that folder, you'll see you fill it out right there. It goes in front of a committee of 5 members that look at the architectural review design guideline and decide whether what you're asking to do is permissible.
Based on what criteria?
Based on the actual documentation.
No, based on what criteria?
The guidelines that you're given when
You don't have to
you.
yell.
The guidelines, they're available both in AppFolio and they're given to you when you purchase the house.
Right, and you guys just said something before, I wasn't at this meeting because I wasn't notified of it. I don't use social media, I don't check on the front board up here, and I asked Patty, just to notify me when this would be up for discussion,
Sure,
and that wasn't done.
sure, and that's fair, because we are now more open than we ever were, but it is still on the onus of the homeowner to come up here and go, hey, Heather, when is the next meeting?
I did, I asked her, I asked her to notify me when.
No, not to notify, just walk up and say, Heather, when is it? She doesn't need to notify you, it's a set date.
We had communication back and forth about all of this during that period of time. I just asked her to send me a note when it's on the agenda. And she did before. When it was canceled on this one,
Sure.
she did tell me what it was. So I put that aside for now. So what we're asking for is a compromise with this. This can't, and like I said, the only contiguous property to it is a school. On the back of the school. And we have a high of traffic, no security and everything else. These three houses were different.
Sure.
Let us paint it, see what it looks like, and then again.
The proposal that I'm not even sure if we could do, but we were talking about at last meeting was planting podocarpus.
What's that?
Planting podocarpus.
What, the plants?
That is going to be, and I'll ask the board here in a second, but that is going to be most likely the recommended solution.
That solution doesn't provide any security.
Yeah, I'm sorry you feel.
No, I don't feel that way. It's an accurate fact. The kids are jumping and running through my yard before the fence is out.
I am sorry you feel it.
Well,
I don't feel that way. It's a fact.
I'm
Well-
sorry you sexualized them.
well, was it offered the metal fence that is currently?
There is a metal fence there.
Oh, there is.
Well,
There was a chain fence.
It's just that because that doesn't fully
There is a
enclose
chain.
that, okay.
So the question is, what, board, how do we feel? Do you wanna make any adjustments or changes?
Well, and just to clarify, I wasn't present, was it, this has been discussed with that particular area of the community, and that's what they have voted for,
Yes.
my understanding?
Yes.
In overwhelming.
72.
Right, but this is
73%.
That's not the right context. I started this when I asked for those two questions on that format. Can I extend my fence? If not, can I pay for it? No one ever answered the question. Then all of a sudden, this thing comes up about putting shrubbery and ripping down the fence. Well, if his fence was still there, his fence will still be there. Why are we gonna have three different fences along that fence line? It doesn't even face the community.
We're
Let
not,
me-
we're gonna have a line of podocarpus. It's just a question of whether it's gonna happen sooner.
But what legal, I buy my house and you guys are gonna vote that you're gonna make me tear down my fence that's been there for 6 or 7 years?
No, but it will fall down. We will not.
And
We will not.
I guarantee you it will not fall down.
You will move. Someone will buy it.
Okay,
Depends
when
what
I,
you do.
okay, when I move, yes, up until I move, which isn't anytime soon.
Okay.
That will stay there. I'm just very concerned that no one is even considering the privacy and security. of it.
Because again,
No one's considered this.
no, I know we have.
No, you haven't.
No, I'm
Because
telling
you're
you,
not taking it seriously. Because the last meeting, what was said last meeting was, this is not unique. We don't want to set a precedence. There is no other place in this neighborhood that is like these three homes, not one. If there is, please show us,
Scott,
so you won't be setting a precedence. You weren't back there when I was cleaning my pool, and someone was standing right there with a drone over my head. If I didn't have a fence there, they could look directly into my house.
Scott, you're not, here's the problem, gentlemen. You're not trying to convince one person.
This is to everyone.
Nobody wants to approve these one privacy fences.
You're saying, one question just to clarify. When Wesley voted, it was on the community section, not what was behind the clear line, honestly. And in the vote, the PBI or the PowerPoint was presented, said that the cost were to repair the fence now. And then also to replace it in 2023. So to me, it was an inflated one. If you have a flat tire, why would you pay to repair it? And then also pay to get a new flat tire the next month, like, why would we repair it now and then 3 months replace it? I wouldn't just replace it.
For two separate options.
One,
There's two separate options, repair it now or replace it.
no. It's like that.
It doesn't come across so.
But you can see the word, it says,
It is-
when you do it twice. It's saying.
How about this? Like I said, my family comes before anything that, you guys are on different pages here. My family and security come first. Fence needs to be there. So, let's look at it this way. You have people here that, you may have a little fence, he's got a fence, I don't want 3 different ones going on there either. So let's do this, when his fence comes down, I'll put him right into my fence comes down. And I will paint the, can I finish or you're just gonna cut it out?
I don't wanna cut you off, I'm just,
Sure you are. You're doing it now.
because you're, well, okay, then I'm cutting you off, because you're presenting things that I cannot approve or deny for you. The board has to vote.
Let them vote. After they get all the information.
Is there more information?
Sure, there's more information.
So if it was gonna be allowed to have a business stay, right? Like, one of the options was to have a fence stay, correct? Right,
At one point in time,
okay,
10 months ago,
so then if it was okay to keep it 10 months ago, why is it okay to approve those houses that have a wooden fence?
again, do we need, you're asking a question, and I appreciate the question, but it's not okay because it was already voted against. So that's
So how do
why
we present it to the board again?
you are, this is the PM.
So do we put it in another vote?
So
You're presenting right now, the appeal hit.
So let me ask you right now, this goes back, this is like it said. There is a fence now, you're saying it's not, fences cannot exist here. A fence does exist here. A fence also exists around, it's owned by this community.
Resident property.
What's that?
Resident property.
I don't know what that means, it's owned by the
It
community.
means a resident owned property.
No, it's not.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. And like, if you're gonna pull an example of a wooden privacy fence, resident owned property, not the dumpsters.
Okay, you don't agree with that, this one? I think your standards, that you were one by.
I think there's a lot that you're missing here because you have not read the ARC documents. And we have to abide by those unless they are otherwise.
No, you don't. I mean, you don't have to abide by it. There's always exceptions. There's exceptions in this community all the time, and there are changes, as you put it yourself, if things are going, you change the vote on changes. What we're saying right now is, accept the fact that we have security and privacy issues of these 3 homes, and quiet enjoyment issues, and make an exception. You already made one. His fence is not coming down. No, wait, finish. His fence is not coming down. It exists today, and it's not coming down. And, you know, if you're not willing to listen to anything else other than it.
It's not sure we've heard of it.
No, you haven't. This is the first time I've been here. You haven't heard it. My house, I started this whole thing asking a question. So I'm asking today, allow me to tear my fence down when he tears his fence down. And
Or do
we'll
you
paint
consider
it,
that?
and then what I would do is this, at my expense, I'll paint all the fences.
Okay. Board, are you willing to consider?
No,
Well, I understand what you're saying here, and,
We could keep in mind, his fence was already in there, his is not approved.
so.
It's the violation plus the other side.
So the current situation is yours is technically was approved.
no,
But
it was existing.
It was
His has been there.
since the build.
The builder put his,
Well, obviously the builder put it in, then.
Right.
yeah,
So
it
it's
was-
two separate issues.
his fence is not an issue until it falls down.
So it's 2 different issues. So the real issue we're looking at right now is Mr. Scott is in violation putting up a fence without.
No, that's what I'm asking, I just asked a question, will we approve, the board consider, let me take the fence down when his fence comes down, and I will paint them all in any color you want, at my expense.
It's also along the street in the village center.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So it's, we're talking 2 different issues.
I'm sorry, I can't even.
I'm just updating her. She hasn't seen the property, so I'm just explaining that his fence was there. You put yours in and his was taken down. I'm just giving her that.
So that's kind of where the confusion can be, saw fence there and then they put a new one in thinking.
But the one that.
But which was not, didn't
Now,
know.
the one you're looking at, actually told me that I was out kind of to drive because the fence, the area was on my property. They said even the shrubs you're talking about, I wouldn't be afforded those with the community either. Because my property is there. It wouldn't be, there's no community property separating me from the school. There's no place to put it.
There's a 5-foot setback. The setback is between our, that's why the wire fence is 5 feet away or 4 feet away from ours. It's a 5-foot setback for us. It's part of the HOA. It's not your property, it's the HOA's property.
Well, I don't think that's accurate on that side of the, on side to, with that one lot that I have, but it may be true, but I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true on that lot. That lot is a little unusual. So again, I ask, would you consider, like I said, when there's a fence there now for continuity, you see pictures of what it'll look like, we'll paint it any color you want. I'll pay for it. When his fence comes down, that fence comes down. And then we have some quiet enjoyment, I can protect my family, and
There's also a portion of it that faces the CUD property, which has not been addressed by Debbie.
I'm sorry, what? I can hear you.
The corner around, the one that bends around the corner is on the,
Right, so I say, what I'll do, that part of it, I'll remove it, and I'll put.
I'm not saying that's not even our concern, that's actually the
I'm
county.
just telling you this, you said that, you're mentioning it, so if that's the case, from the side that faces the community, I'll remove the 15 feet of it on that side of the community.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Is tonight just to hear this appeal, or is this going to be like a long drawn out discussion where they are going to get the answers?
This has to be, this has to be done when?
Talk about everything once or something before giving
We
a.
actually can't.
We can't, there is no,
There's no.
No,
privacy.
there's no privacy on this. We have to make it.
there's no privacy on this. We've talked, we've voted on it several times over already, but Kathy, I'm hearing a no. Hey, let's do this. I'll make a motion to approve the back of the fence being painted and supplied by you for the 3 members. The side would have to come down. I'll remove it. Is anyone willing to second that?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
Opposed?
I'm opposed as well.
You're opposed as well, even though you made the motion.
Where are we on?
We did include-
One, 2, 3, ayes, 3 to 2.
3 to 2 on ayes?
Mhm.
Yes. Okay.
So that's allowing the third fence to be erected then.
That's allowing those 3 houses to have the fence erected, the one side has to come down, and they all have to be painted. We have a preference of color here, I would say that black or gray.
I would request black.
I'd say
You
black.
got it. Matte or gloss?
Matte.
Matt, please.
Huh? Matte, that's what I would suggest also.
Oh, it's gonna be matte no matter what it is.
Eventually.
I do have one thing to add, and I mentioned this, the wood is new, so the wood is still leaching. So, I'll call them and find out how long they.
There's a time period.
There's a time period, so the paint stays.
Okay.
So I'll send that, as soon as I get an answer on that, I'll send that to the board. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So-
Are you maintaining this?
Yeah, just-
So that it continues to look,
I have $1 million, it's just like everyone else does around here, and if you look at my house, I take care of my home, and just like all the rest of them. How it looks and how the community looks is very important to us. Of course, I don't know why we say that, you look at my home.
Well, because we have people that don't, so it's,
Well, let's put it this way, yes.
it's a legitimate statement.
Yes, I plan on maintaining my property.
okay, I mean, your property as far as, and I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
You and with that, but you're saying that you're going to paint the fence for the 3 homes.
We'll take care of the fence for the 3 homes.
And it will continue to look well maintained. I mean, we're not going to have weathered looking, you
You
know.
have, I don't think that's an issue, you have guidelines in the community that cover that already, that's a new point, is if it doesn't, I'm gonna notice on my door that says you need to maintain your fence, your grass, our garbage cans are out, all the things like that, so. The answer to your question, the answer again is yes, but that's a new point at this point, because you have standards in the community. Correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
When,
Which we just changed for you. You
You didn't change
understand?
you didn't change your guidelines for the look and feel of the community, or anything else.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
just
did.
did,
we did, we did.
because our guidelines say that no one.
Every time, I just.
And I thank you for that, but just so you're aware, yes, we now have to go back to our ARC and we have to stipulate the 3 lots that are allowed a little fence. Because otherwise,
I
we
promise
get
you.
collective enforcement.
We will maintain them just like we do anything else in our.
Yeah, well, this is a picture.
If you have,
Came before.
Like I said, I'll get back to you. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Any time frame, we look at a time frame of completion.
I'm not
I know you're not, I'm just saying.
I just don't, I'm not a, it's anybody that wood, anything knows about fences, I just know that they're mentioning that the oil in the fence has gotta come out, and I think it's months, not years, so.
It's like 90 days.
I'm sorry.
It has to cure.
Right, it's gotta cure, it's gotta come out.
But you also wanna pick the right paint.
Yeah, so we'll wait till they're here, and whatever that is, they'll tell us and we'll tell you.
You'll need to also look into what a good paint is to go for that wood, because if you go and paint it with a latex or something for a house paint, it's gonna peel off and you're gonna see it.
Right, that's what I don't want to have.
Right.
Point out to people what the main.
I think they make a
maintenance was prior to
stain,
this.
a black
That's what it
stain
looked
that
like
actually
before.
goes on that too.
If you get an idea, please, get my emails in file.
It's kind of like, when you do the, it's kind of like when you do the decking, you
Yeah,
can paint it in different colors. They actually, yes.
Better.
We're gonna be honest.
So-
Keep it waterproof and it will
I
seal.
think you're right. I'll ask for that.
The
to
region
the
stuff
Lowe's
around
and
it, it's not being maintained.
Yeah.
That's why. I think that's
All
what
right,
makes
so-
it damage.
All we look for you is at
So
that
it
date
becomes a
point,
responsibility.
Yeah.
and then, you know,
So no more than, can we put a time limit? No more than 90 days?
Well, I say no more. I say, put it on your plate, 9 days, let's check back in with, Mr. Scott.
And these gentlemen too, because he's putting up his fence and he's got one.
So let's just see where they are. Good,
Yeah.
good.
We
good
wanted,
contact and communication.
better for us, we wanted them to, we want that paid as soon as possible.
I got one last question. So there is a area of grass between that fence and the school.
Yeah. What about it?
My request,
That's the way it was
That's what it's
looking.
maintained right
I-
now at your house.
I don't know, what's that? What's that?
His house and one next to it, this is.
What is the question?
This
The
is,
question
it's
is-
not being maintained.
it needs to be made.
I don't have any chain link fence behind my house.
No, this is,
That's a
Well,
chain link
I
fence
don't
right there.
think that's not mine.
That's before he tore down his fence.
but the space.
That's
between
not
the-
my fence right
I
there.
understand. The space between the chain link and that is actually needs to be maintained as well.
Yeah, but he's not, he doesn't have chain link, and I don't have any.
I'm not speaking to him. I'm speaking to the group actually, that needs to be maintained. That space is not ours.
But it's not on my property.
It's not our property.
It's the schools.
We may, you know, we may end up eating maintenance on that just because I don't see the school maintaining it. And if it's not residents' property, then.
Yeah, I don't think I surveyed said that.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
absolutely.
Everyone. Okay, new business. We have network lines where I need for access control at the pool. I got 3 outrageous quotes in there. That are outrageous.
Yeah.
So
I-
how can we cut that down?
Only thing I know is Sean mentioned we might be able to have a really crappy weekend and get done with some rental tools, and my guess is about $2,000 or less.
Materials, conduit is very expensive right now. $30 every 10 feet.
I'm for doing the weekend. I need your help putting it together.
Okay.
And we need some manpower. We can steal JR for sure.
What are you trying to do?
We're gonna dig a trench, drop a pipe in it, pull wire through it.
So if you think about the pool,
So what's in the ground around the pool?
so
Right now, it's
Nothing
a
yet.
crappy piece of conduit.
I'm just saying, but is there any lines that you could hit? So if you,
We have to have it marked, and there's gonna be sprinkler
Yeah.
lines that we will hit and have to replace.
there's going to be some landscaping repair too, I'm sure, later on. We're just gonna have to lean on Sunrise to fix whatever we.
We're bound to nick it, sprinkler and so.
no, I mean, I didn't know how deep some of the stuff was, because I
So
remember
what tools have you been?
we
using?
used a little ditch witch, but we used a little small one that only went down 12 inches, because we didn't want to. We
Yeah,
used to do a lot of work. at
The low
the
voltage has gotta be between 12 and 18 according to code, and then, the sprinkler pipes should be above that, and that's why we have to serve.
I'm sorry. that's-
Did you need tools or what was?
Yeah, we're gonna, I know you said you have a water jet, so Alpha Communications said that. We may find out in here that the water jet won't work because they're over 3.5 feet in those sidewalks, that we may need a,
I've gone,
that's what I thought. too. I didn't know
How big's the pipe going through?
sorry?
How big's the pipe going through?
Should add.
Just make one with PVC and screw the hose so that.
No, I'm.
A female
I've got
adapter on the
I've
other
got a
day.
fitting that's designed just for that.
I've gone under driveways.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that, just want to state what I was told, but yeah, I've seen the same thing, I've seen the one.
So
So,
it's not that big of a deal.
I was gonna say, there's gotta be
It's
a way
messy.
to cut this price.
You're gonna get nasty.
This project right now is over budget anyway and over time.
I am not, but I don't know, this is. Sure. Not by a dollar.
Not yet. 17,000 and change before you pick up the box.
I was
Oh my
gonna say, have you paid the lots?
I have it in my budget. So my total of it. Well, we pay for it now, I gotta pay. But anyway,
I agree, this should get fixed, you know.
it's not just fixed, it's a complete robot. I want to push to get it done in November.
Okay, so the big thing is where's the money coming from, as always? I know that you had mentioned that you thought we could push it from the reserve. It's really not a reserve item directly, so it's questionable. But my instincts are that we could probably do that because the old conduit has failed. That's the way we're writing this up.
Well, I mean, it has, for instance,
Okay.
the two Ethernets that I'm trying to find that are by the pergolas are broken somewhere in the conduit. They are on the box, dug it out yesterday, and I still get no. So.
Okay,
yeah, it's-
so if you're promising that and we're trying to mitigate that expense, it makes sense to me. Otherwise, we're gonna prolong this project until there's funds to cover the other expense, which could take months.
Yeah, my goal is to have this done up and running by the first of the latest.
The first of what?
First, of
Of when?
January.
November
Like,
first.
Hey, you're gonna make me have a birthday.
That's what I think that's what he was thinking. November.
I think that is January.
Yeah, don't make me have a
He
birthday.
starts taking his Halloween decorations down November first. It takes, I watched all my wife been driving by.
Yeah.
So if you see a lady driving by in a white SUV,
You know what? We have a line of white SUVs.
it's got a gator tag on the back.
Yeah.
Got a gator tag on the back. She drives by, she goes, oh man, and she comes home, she goes, oh, I gotta do this to our house. And now we have skeletons outside our house.
Sorry about that.
Never had that.
Sorry.
before.
So
Yeah,
we
it's
need
it's
to-
pretty cool.
We
The good thing is I don't have any
need
skeletons in my closets.
There we go.
to plan a weekend, figure out what we need to run, to make sure it's available. JR, we're gonna use you for a weekend in November. Not exactly sure when yet, but we're gonna need you, because we're gonna end up burying that 1.5 inch line that needs to go around the pool. We'll get a team of people together and whatever we need and material.
Need to call one.
so that's.
So that weekend.
If we could, it would be, when we ever decide to do this, we're gonna have to call the linesman, make sure we're not gonna hit a gas line or something strange, but they should
It's
be
not
low.
Julie, what's it called here?
Sorry?
What's it called? Who do you call before you dig?
Oh,
In Illinois, it's Julie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Virginia, it's Miss Utility.
yeah, I
It's
don't,
utility.
Yeah,
for the most part, if they follow code, we should not be in anything that's dangerous, but the reality is that like, we were doing some trenching in the back of her yard to try to help her with the drainage situation, and the gas line was 6 inches down.
Yeah, they don't know.
So, I mean, it does happen.
it does, and so, but there's, like I said, there's gotta be a way to cut
Well,
this cost, it's ridiculous.
I know these things because I do these, things. So I know what they charge and it's not fun.
Alpha is actually the company we use, gonna get like a job like this, and I don't want it, they just give us, they give Adams a 10% back on.
Yep. Okay, so
Not what I was doing here.
I'm more than happy to help and help the project and save some money, I have no problem.
Do we, are we gonna hand it the whole thing? Or do we need a transfer?
No, we run trenching from Home Depot. We just put it,
That little baby would walk behind Ditch Witch.
Yeah.
It goes what about, I think it was 18 inches, doesn't it?
yeah, it'll go 18 inches, but we don't need to go that deep with it, but the nice thing about it is it's in this type of soil, it'll rip through that in a heartbeat. It'll be really nice.
Because there's no oak trees right there.
Right, there's nothing, you should be able to dig the trench faster than we realize. It's the burying and the gluing that takes the time. so.
Digging like this.
Well, I can attest that our friend Dave is not gonna help dig either, because I watched him dig his little trench in the backyard. Try to show him how to dig, and we're missing, so this is how you dig, but
Trench and shovel, you need a really good trench and
A
shovel.
glue on a cut, I'll put a line.
You could use
okay, well, I do have an electric cutter, so that'll save a lot of
Got
time.
that too.
Okay,
All right,
Okay, we'll move on real quick.
Moving
Thanks. Get with me what weekend works for you, and we'll put out a notice to see how much.
can we get past Halloween?
Okay.
Okay,
and then putting up Christmas,
no, that happens after Thanksgiving, so we should be okay. I've got a window in there, we can do this.
yeah, but you're gonna be out of town for most of November.
I did put the sunrise irrigation repair for 5828 Circuit Fish Hawk on here, because I saw sunrise repair, irrigation repair. Okay, last month inspection technician found a PVB leak in the base castings due to saturation area. Leak will only get worse over time, causing system. They have low pressure, restricting coverage. Need to replace 1-inch Watkins pressure vacuum breaker. Price is
$524.
$524.
which is not ridiculous from me. The good thing, if he's gonna have to replace the check valve, which he was talking about,
We've had these before on property.
it's not ridiculous. Some of the things that given us, we spent $300 to replace our sprinkler heads, so this is not ridiculous comparatively speaking, I should say.
So do we need a motion?
Yep,
I'll make the motion to approve the sunrise irrigation repair at the Mount Stated.
perfect. I will second that. All those in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed?
I am, but I don't get a vote.
Motion carries. Announcements, do we have any announcements?
Yes, this will be my last meeting. I'm resigning. I'm sorry, no, not just kidding.
Resident input, do we have any resident input regarding this meeting before we cut over? No, okay, I'm calling for meeting adjournment.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Hi.
All right, meeting adjourned. Can you stop recording? You don't have to hit that. There's a way to stop recording.
We adjourn the
Video?
7th.
Yeah.
Well, 7/19 p.m. I need this for the file. Stop.
How you doing?
I don't